Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I got the Ruger RXM to unbox for y'all and give my first initial impressions. Now myself, I couldn't see purchasing a Glock clone, however my wife purchased this. Now I'm starting to understand why these are actually flooding the market. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's go ahead and open the Ruger RXM and see what you're getting for the money. So right off the bat, we'll go with the contents of inside. You're going to get a trigger lock. Nobody really uses that. Throw it off to the side. You're going to get your Torx wrench and locator pins. This is for your optics cut on the handgun. The chamber flag here. I actually like when they include a chamber flag. The spare magazine. Now this is a Magpul magazine. It's 15 rounds. I've never had any issues out of the Magpul mags. People are contradicting them between actual Glock mags, but I've never had an issue out of the Glock mags. You're going to get the actual handgun itself. This is unloaded. It's clear. And in the back of the foam here, you're going to get your manual. Don't throw your manual away if you like stickers. There's stickers in there. I almost threw everything away. Let's go ahead and talk about the case real quick. Let me get all this off the table and we'll go back to the case. Now, I know a lot of people, myself included, when we get pistols or handguns, rifles, anything like that, we normally throw away these cases. So far, I'm actually impressed with this case. I'll show you what I mean. So if you have the handgun in here, you bought it stock, you'll notice that it's already cut out. When you get an optic, there's a cutout here so you can fit your handgun in there. Along with it's extended down here for extended mag. And in here is a extra magazine, so you could have a total of 3 magazines in your case when you're traveling or if you're going to the range. That's a 15 round magazine. Here's a 17 round magazine. And there's still more room in here, so I'm assuming if you had the Glock 27 round mag, I believe it is, it'll fit in here also. Along with that, if you eventually wanted to actually upgrade this case, guys, you can take this plastic insert out and put foam in here and customize it the way you want it to. So that's just another thing I really like about this handgun. If you're just starting out with firearms, or if you're just purchasing this and you want a handgun as your first purchase, this is probably one of the better routes to go. So we'll go ahead and get into the pistol now. So right off the bat, I'm going to start from the bottom of the frame, work my way up, and then go to the muzzle. So we'll go ahead and talk about magazine compatibility. Of course, you guys know it comes with the Magpul magazines. This is an old generation Glock magazine. No issues, fits, functions perfectly fine. And here's a Gen 5 Glock magazine. Fits and operates just fine. Go ahead and set those off to the side here. Now let's go ahead and talk about the frame. Actually, let's revert a little bit. Let's talk about this magwell. So you can see, guys, this magwell is very pronounced and is going to really help you with the mag changes on the back here. I've really found that this piece right here has really helped me in aiding my magazines going in. Normally I hang up right here, and with this little ramp it helps me insert my magazines like that. Now let's talk about the frame. The texture itself, if you've ever owned an AR-15 with a Magpul grip, that is generally the best description I can give for the texture on the frame. It's not too aggressive, but it's not aggressive enough in my opinion. If you're shooting a handgun in dry environments, you're not going to have any issues at all. However, if your hand gets wet, muddy, or bloody, I do fear that the handgun might become slippery, and that might become an issue down the road. Now let's talk about this mag release. This is a Gen 3 mag release, so it's going to be small if you're used to Gen 4 and Gen 5 Glocks. And if you have itty bitty thumbs like I do, it's kind of hard reaching that and operating that with one hand. So what I like is I actually recess this a little bit so it's easier for my thumb to wrap around. I still can't fully reach it, so I'm able to operate the mag release with my support hand, which I've always done. No matter what, I really never manipulate the mag release with my dominant hand. So that's just something to keep aware of, guys, if you have short itty bitty thumbs like I do. Really like what they did here with the undercut. If you guys have never shot a Glock with an undercut, really recommend going and doing it. And I really recommend getting your Glock done. It's the most comfortable thing you can do to a Glock. Now the rail here is a standard 1913 rail, so in 2025, generally speaking, all your weapon mounted lights are going to fit this. We'll go ahead and talk about the serrations, because this is probably one of my favorite parts about this pistol, is actually how they did the serrations on this thing. The angle, the depth, and everything about the serrations, I'm loving, I'm digging, and I really wish more companies would do this. I've never had any issues with my hand slipping off because some front serrations, I operate my handgun slide using the front serrations, and sometimes I have issues sliding off, but the Ruger, I've never had any issues operating. It really lets you get in there and grab a hold of it and operate and do what you need to do. We'll go ahead and talk about the sights, the slide, and then we'll go further on. So right out of the box, guys, you're going to get a blacked out rear with serrations on it. And your front sight is going to be an HD sight with a white ring. And then your center dot's going to be green tritium, which I really prefer that. I kind of get lost in the sauce when there's 2 dots back in the rear and 1 dot up front. I really prefer blacked out rears and one on your front sight post. We'll go ahead and talk about the optics, the footprint. So this footprint is for RMR, RMSC, and the Delta Point Pro footprint. So most of your Hollow Suns are going to fit on this. I know Hollow Suns is becoming the king of the market with handgun optics. You also have a window right here, a chamber window, so you can see if you're actually engaged, and there's one in the chamber. And one thing I did mention about the frame aspect of this is if you see this little block right here, guys, Ruger has, I don't know if they've actually came out with it yet, but you can pull this pin out. You can pop out your fire control unit like a SIG P320, which P320s are a whole thing. Don't even get me started on P320s. But you can pull this out, and Ruger and Magpul are going to be making a subcompact frame, so you can throw that down in there, and you can have a subcompact firearm. Now let's go ahead and talk about the trigger on this thing, because I don't know how I feel about the trigger, to be honest with you guys. So it's the best way I can explain the trigger is it's heavy, but is it a smooth heavy to where you don't know it's heavy, if that makes any sense at all. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate the trigger. It's mush, 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 and break. There's really not a wall. I'll show you the reset. And right there's the reset. And one more time. And that is the trigger and the trigger reset. You're also going to be getting a flat face trigger right out of the box, which is, some people really prefer flat face triggers. To me, it really doesn't matter if I have a curved or flat faced. Really, the trigger squeeze and the way the trigger feels is really what matters to me. Now I want to show you guys the holster compatibility. This is a Serpa holster for a Glock 19. Fits down in there. The retention on this is crazy stupid. I got it set. That's why it's tight. Nothing wrong with the holster. The compatibility, I got the tension really tight on that one. And here I just have an appendix carry holster, which fits and runs perfectly fine. So you're able to run your Glock 19 holsters with this with no issue at all, if that's something you guys are looking for.